I have a midterm today, so I just wanted to get out a smaller video on update day focusing on, in my opinion, one of the most important changes this update. TLDR, whip stacking is dead. If you aren't familiar with whip stacking, it is a tactic where you use multiple whips at once, which lets you stack multiple tag damage buffs on enemies, as well as get multiple whip buffs for yourself. For example, if I swap between the Snapthorn and Spinal Tap repeatedly on an enemy, I can inflict both tags of 7 and 6 damage for a total of plus 13 tag damage, and gain the Snapthorn's increased whip speed buff at the same time. Pretty powerful. Generally, there were two whip stacking paradigms. If you had a single high damage minion, like Abigail the Desert Tiger or the Stardust Dragon, you'd want to stack a speed increasing whip, like the Dark Harvest or Snapthorn, with the Firecracker, which causes an explosion on whip hit. More whip speed is more explosions, and since these explosions are based on your minion damage, they were extremely powerful. Alternatively, if you had a lot of fast, small damage minions, like the Blade Staff, you'd want to stack tag damage to the moon, since tag damage applies to every single individual attack. The tag bonus damage of the Spinal Tap alone is more than the entire base damage for the Blade Staff, so for these minions, whip stacking would immensely boost their damage per hit. It may take a little more effort to manage two whips at once, but for those who can do it, it is a nice increase in DPS. There's also nothing stopping you from stacking even more whips, so for the massively skilled, whip stacking could allow you to dish out just absurd amount of damage from your minions. However, as you probably guessed, in 1.4.5 they completely removed whip stacking. Enemies can only be tagged with one tag damage boost at once now. Additionally, if you try to use two whips at once, only one whip buff can be active on you at once too, so no stacking whip speed with multiple whips either. You really can only use one whip at a time now, full stop. So how is this massive nerf being compensated for? Well, first, reforges. The new summoner prefixes are much more powerful than the old magic prefixes that minions used to have. As an example, Ballistic is a reforge that just gives a flat plus 5 tag damage, while Worthy gives plus 8 armor penetration and plus 15% damage. Eager gives a flat plus 25 armor penetration, which, for bosses with defense, is just plus 12 damage really, which is as good or better than a whip stack. And for minions with knockback, the new best reforge, Fabled, grants plus 15% damage, plus 15% knockback, plus 10 armor penetration, and plus 3 tag damage, which is just amazing compared to anything we had in the past. So this alone compensates a lot for the lack of whip stacking, and for those of us who never whip stacked in the first place, which is most people, this actually amounts to a very significant buff for Summoner. Next, the 9 new whips and whip bounce changes also factor into this too. The changes to the existing whips are neither here nor there, aside from a pretty big buff to the Dark Harvest in my opinion. The new whips though seem pretty cool, and more powerful than the existing ones, especially with their effects, so more powerful whips factoring into this might compensate for this too. And lastly, the Blade Staff, the ultra low damage, high speed minion paragon itself, and the biggest loser of this change, was given a small buff, which again lets it use 100% of its tag damage instead of 75%. The Blade Staff definitely won't be as powerful as it was with whip stacking, but in most cases, given all those reforges, especially Eager, damn, it should still be a pretty decent minion. Overall though, I'm withholding my judgment until more testing happens to see what this change really means for Summoner. My initial gut impression is that this lowers the skill ceiling for Summoner, nerfing the sweaty stuff while overall acting as a buff to Summoner for most players. Regardless though, it is a very important change nonetheless, and with so many people probably starting Summoner playthroughs now that the update has come out, it's one that you should know. Hello, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing or even join as a member to support the channel. It means a lot to me. Similar videos, well, for now, old ones, are on the left and right. Either way though, thank you for watching, and good day and goodbye. See you in a few days for more update coverage.